Tonya Daniel, and I cover the schools starting with Birmingham North.
And I'm Teryn Anderson, and I cover the majority of the schools, Montgomery and South, and a few northern institutions as well.
And I guess you're wondering, what do Foster and Hope mentors do? Well, we participate in individual service plans, making sure that you receive the services and needs while you're in college.
We also help with the required paperwork for you to get into the universities. That will be your FAFSA, as well as your application for admittance. We can help you with your housing applications, as well as just making sure that your funding is in place.
We make face-to-face contact with our students every semester, which means we try to come to the schools once a semester. If need be, we can come back, but we are mandated to come at least once a semester.
We also attempt to work with the schools to make sure that you have a smooth transition and that services are being provided to you as it relates to your funding, as well as those support services that include tutoring and disability to just make sure that you're successful while you're seeking your education.
And we monitor progress with academic success as the goal, which means, hey, if you contact us and you're struggling or you may need some assistance with what's the best option for you, we help you in that area so that we're all able to have success academically.
So Alabama Contracts, a funding provider, that is the agency of foster care to success. Below, you'll see the contact information for our contact person, and that's Ms. Myra Miller. You will become very familiar with her. She requires that you speak with her at least once a month, and this is just to ensure that you are getting the support that you need, that your tuition is being paid timely, as well as just providing that additional access to information as it relates to college. You will primarily talk to her by schedule an appointment with her. She will communicate with you in order to just make sure that you have everything that you need.
So where do we start? Well, we must start with our FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid, which can be completed beginning October 1st of your senior year.
So Alabama provides you with 2 programs for assistance that you can complete in order to finish college debt-free, and that is the ultimate goal here. The first program is the Foster and Hope Scholarship. This is a state funding program that pays your tuition and required fees only. That doesn't include housing, nor the purchase of books, or even your meal plan. This just covers that tuition and typically those fees that every student at the university are required to pay.
And then you also have the ETV program, which is a federally funded program which provides up to $5,000 annually, which means it's about $2,500 each, up to $2,500 each semester, just based on your need.
So the Foster and Hope Scholarship covers the tuition and the required fees, and this is paid directly to your school.
Eligibility for Foster and Hope is you must have graduated from high school or received your GED while in foster care, or were adopted from foster care after you turned 14 years of age, or placed with relative kinship guardianship at the age of 14.
Another stipulation of receiving a scholarship is that you must maintain at minimum a GPA of a 2.0.
And this covers public schools in Alabama and trade programs.
This also covers dual enrollment for high school students and can assist with college study abroad programs that are funded through your colleges.
And youth are eligible for this through the age of 26 with a cap of 144 school hours.
One additional requirement for receiving the Fostering Hope Scholarship is that you have to have completed at least 100 annual volunteer hours within an academic year, and that is fall, spring, and summer. In lieu of the volunteer hours, you are able to work at least 100 hours within that academic year. But we want to make sure that this is recorded before a student can be funded for that next year. And the way that it can be recorded is if you're taking volunteer hours, we want you to take a sign-in sheet so that you can get credit for that. And if you're working, just make sure that you maintain your check stubs.
ETV, or the Education and Training Voucher, is funding up to $5,000 based on the need, and it's paid to the school or the student, which means if you have a balance left over, this balance will be paid first at the school, or you will receive a check in the mail from ETV. They do not direct deposit, so we would need to make sure that whatever address we have on file for you is the address that you can receive that check in your mail at.
Eligibility for ETV is a little different than that of Fostering Hope, but you must be 18 years of age while in foster care, adopted from foster care after you turn 16 years of age, or placed with a relative through kinship guardianship at the age of 16.
Students must maintain a GPA of 2.0. That GPA with ETV is non-negotiable because that is a federal fund, which means that if you lose your Pell Grant, you will also lose your ETV.
Another difference with this program than it is from Fostering Hope, ETV covers most public and private schools in and out of the state of Alabama. So that is, we want to make sure that we highlight that Fostering Hope only pays for public institutions in the state of Alabama, whereas ETV will give you that funding up to $5,000 for most public and private schools in and out of the state of Alabama.
And youth are eligible through the age of 26 with a cap of 5 years of funding.
There is one application through the Foster Care to Success agency, and the website is indicated below. Again, there's one application to apply for both ETV and Fostering Hope, and that's www.fosteringhopeal.org.
And what can you do to get ready? You can develop your own transition plan by the age of 17.
We also want to encourage you to visit the schools prior to making a decision to attend. A lot of the schools will allow you to have a tour of the school prior to committing. They also are, in the age of COVID, they are doing a lot of virtual tours. So we want to make sure that you have visited the college prior to you committing to that. So we want to start looking at the earlier part of your senior year. Around August, we want you to begin to start making plans with whoever is your guardian, who's your social worker, to start visiting these schools that you are contemplating applying for.
And you want to map out your housing and financial plan, meaning if you're considering staying on campus your freshman year when you start college, you need to go ahead and discuss possibly, paying your dorm fees, contacting that college and seeing when they will accept those dorm fees so that you can reserve a dorm, because what you don't want to do is get accepted and get your hopes up and then the dorms are full. So go ahead and make sure that you map out that housing situation.
We want you to definitely continue to consider other independent living programs that will give you a little bit more insight and access to college preparation. In Soro, INSEP, and Camp Life, all of these programs are designed to kind of give you somewhat of a college experience while also giving you fundamental information about how to prepare for college. So definitely take note of the websites below so that you can have that additional information and access.
School support services. Most schools have support services to help you succeed. Examples would be if you have an attention disorder, that would allow you additional time to take a test outside of the classroom. If you have some type of test anxiety or anxiety in the class, it would give the ability to record course presentations. If you break your arm and you're unable to write for whatever reason, someone can also come to that class and take notes with you.
These services are provided through the Office of Disability Services that every 2-year college and 4-year college have access, that you'll have access to at those particular institutions. If you had an IEP in high school, we want to make sure that this information is documented through the Office of Disability Services at your college. The IEP is a little bit different than the services that they offer at the universities. However, we want to make sure that whatever accommodations that you require in order for you to be academically successful, that is documented through your 2-year or 4-year college.
And students must request services and provide documentation, which means if you're going to need those services and you want that, we will need that documentation so that when you go to the school for registration, we have it there so that they can go ahead and enroll you in those services so that you will have them when classes start, not at the end of the semester.
Accommodations will be based off the student's needs. So that will be based off of the documentation that you provide, and it will have to be approved through the Office of Disability Services.
And me or Ms. Anderson can also help you identify your options as far as, are you a candidate that will need someone to help take notes for you? Audio recording of lectures, taking exams. So we will just need that documentation so we can move forward with that.
If you remain in DHR custody while you're pursuing your secondary education, we want to give you a little bit of insight as to how DHR can be a continued support. DHR has the ability to pay for tutoring while you're in college. We want to make sure that you're accessing those services that are on campus, as a lot of the college professors will have someone assigned to providing assistance outside of the class, but DHR can pay up to $35 an hour for 3 days a week for you to get that extra assistance that you will require for your different classes.
Also, you will be eligible to receive a college stipend of up to $150 a month. That does vary just based on what your financial need is. And again, it's up to $150. So, you may get $125, someone else may get $75, but it's based on your individual need for that stipend.
Also, they provide assistance to an allowance that's up to $500 a year, and this will be based on what your ISP decides as to be an appropriate allowance for you. And it also will identify what you are receiving those allowances for.
Money management activities, you can receive up to $200 a year. You may work on something as small as budgeting what you're getting, and if that's a money management skill that's stepped out in your ISP, you can receive some type of incentive for that.
Also, they have the ability to provide special incentives if you continue to attend Dream Council meetings or local IL meetings through the county. There are special incentives that you can receive just to provide you with that extra funding while you are in school.
And just continue transitional and independent living services. We can still assist you if you're in an IL apartment. You may stay in your apartment and attend school that's still assisting you become independent once you turn the age of 21.
Also, we want to make sure that you're maintaining your mental health and your counseling services. If you currently have counseling services in your current placement or through your foster home, and you move out of county in order to attend school, we want to make sure that you're maintaining that. It is of the utmost important that we maintain that stabilization as it relates to our mental health.
Just some basic logistics that we just wanted to kind of reiterate. Complete your FAFSA October 1st of your senior year. So those that are graduating in May of 2021, go ahead. FAFSA would need to be completed October 1st of this year.
We also want to make sure that you're applying to your school of choice. We want you to consider applying to more than one college. So definitely initiate that conversation with your worker as to where you would like to go and what steps you need to take in order to apply for those particular colleges. Also, be sure to reach out to myself or Ms. Daniels, and we can assist you with this process as well.
And apply for Fostering Hope and ETV. And there's their website again, www.fosteringhopeal.org after January the 1st.
We want you to make sure that you have an email address that you're monitoring essentially daily, because that's going to be the way that myself, Ms. Daniels, Foster Care to Success, and even the universities and the community colleges are going to be contacting you. Anything that you may need or anything that's required is going to be most likely sent to you an email. So we want to make sure that you have an email that you are accessing regularly. Also, these are the ways that you're going to be able to initiate your orientation and your course registration dates.
And also, students must enroll in at least 12 credit hours to receive full-time payment benefits for educational assistance.
You must also achieve at least a C in each credit-bearing class. So that is a C in your 12 credit hours is essentially 4 classes. So you have to maintain a C at least all of those classes, which will average out to a 2.0 GPA or a pass for those particular classes. That typically applies to remedial courses.
And at the end of each semester, a transcript must be sent to the funding provider, who is Myra Miller. So if you're speaking with her every month, you will know, hey, because she's going to remind you the closer it gets to the end of that semester that she will need that transcript. So just be prepared to go ahead and get that transcript sent to her at the end of each semester, because that will hold up your funding for the next semester.
And we also want you to keep in mind that 2-year institutions and 4-year institution is not for everybody. So we want you to know that you have options: post-secondary education, vocational education, registered apprenticeships, Job Corps, going into the military. These are all options that are at your disposal. We want you to, again, encourage you to begin talking to your social worker about what your options are and what your plan is. And you can initiate that through your transitional living plan. We want to make sure that you're successful, and we want to make sure that you're involved in something that you know that you can be successful at.
And again, here is our contact information. Please feel free to contact me or Ms. Anderson. No question is a dumb question. I'd rather you ask that question than wait and get caught up in something that, you know, could have been fixed in the front end. So make sure you just reach out to us. If I'm not available, Ms. Anderson is available, vice versa, regardless of what school you're going to, and then we'll redirect you to the correct mentor. But we both have the same information. The funding provider, who is Myra Miller, you will get her information again in your email. So just make sure that you're checking your emails once you have applied for school through Fostering Hope and ETV.
We're definitely excited about you considering your next steps and being involved in post-secondary education or even a trade and some type of certification. We look forward to working with you. And again, just to reiterate what Ms. Daniels said, no question is a dumb question. Please allow us to provide you with that assistance and to help you to be successful in this.
Okay, everybody. So I didn't see any questions being typed in the chat. Do you have questions now? Because Ms. Teryn and Ms. Tonya are on the call, and they're here to answer your questions. Okay. Well, I've got some questions for you. How many of you have already started working on your transitional living plan with your workers? Okay, I see a couple. How many of you don't know what the transitional living plan is? Sophia? Okay. So Teryn and Tonya, can you talk about what the transitional living plan is? Teryn, you are muted.
Okay, the transitional living plan is a document that has been implemented throughout the state to involve you all in making plans for your life. We want to make sure that we know that sometimes y'all get new workers and the plan changes. The transitional plan is designed to sit down with you, figure out what your goals are, to discuss with you what areas we feel as though you feel as though and we feel as though you need to work on, and set a plan for you to accomplish those goals. If college is a part of that, we want that to be incorporated in your transitional plan and involve us in your ISP so that we can sit down and see where you are. Say, for instance, if you desire to take the ACT or you're having trouble with taking the ACT, anything like that, we want to make sure that that information is incorporated with that into that plan, so that even if you get a new worker or somebody picks up your plan, your desires and your goals can continue to be worked on and it doesn't change. It should evolve. Let me say that. It should evolve as you get older, because you're going to be a different person at 18 than you are at 16. I think we want to start getting those transitional plans initiated in and around ILP age, which is about 14, 15, but it's mandatory to have one if you are 17 years old. So if you do not have one or do not understand, make sure that you ask your social worker about it. And I'll lend it to Tonya to kind of give a little bit more information.
Basically, what Ms. Anderson said is just a transition. The plan is just helping you evolve and decide, make more better choices about what you want to do. You may want to go in the military at 18, but then when you turn 19, you may have a different, may want to do something different. So just make sure that if you don't have a transition plan, as she said, that you will go ahead and get with your worker and let her know that, hey, I need to be working on my transition plan, because believe it or not, once you all hit 17 and 18, it goes very quickly. And when you look up, you'll be 21. So let's just go ahead and make sure if we don't have those transition plans in place, that we work on those with our workers.
Okay. And in the presentation, Teryn and Tonya mentioned the INSORO and the INSET programs. Have all of you heard of those? Yeah. And Nakia, you a prize if you can tell me what date your FAFSA should be completed during your senior year. Okay, so nobody knows the date. Nobody gets a prize. You are supposed to complete your FAFSA by October 1st during your senior year. So make sure you keep that flyer that you were sent about the Fostering Hope program, stick it on your pegboard, wherever you can see it during your senior year, so you can constantly remind yourself, I need to get started on this kind of stuff. And Tonya and Teryn also mentioned that if you're not interested in a 2 or 4 year college, there's other options available. Please reach out to them and your worker and talk about those transitional living plans and see where you're headed once you hit your senior year, because it's important and we don't want you all to be trying to play catch up at the last minute before you age out. So one more time, open call for questions. All right. Well, hopefully you got everything you needed. If you just didn't feel comfortable asking the questions in the group, please feel free to email us. And we're going to meet back here at 1 o'clock for a live session with Mr. Jamal Callahan. and we'll see you later. Bye.